click that next button. Don't even think about clicking on a different podcast, because That is Effin' Weird is here to bring you a wealth of knowledge today.
Hello and welcome back to That is Effin' Weird. My name is Stevenson Gerald the Third Longbotom. Today we're going to be talking about some fugitives. This month we're going to be covering criminal people. Now I wanted to do something off the beaten path. Now this is not necessarily a murder or serial killer type month or whatever. We're gonna try to stay away from those types of individuals. We're gonna try to go into a little bit different path. Try to find some a little bit more obscure people. Not stick with like the Jeffrey Dahmers. But for today, and to start out the month, we're actually going to be doing the 15 most wanted fugitives based off the U.S. Marshal .gov website. So we're going to go through, we're going to take a look at them, and we're going to probably do a little bit of research on the side just to see what they are all about. Because each one of these by the U.S. Marshal does have just a brief little kind of description about it. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. Hope you guys are having a great start to your new year. We got a lot more in store. Again, we have those Fishbowl episodes at the end of the month. So if you want to tune in for those, be a part of the conversation, by all means, please do. And also, we have a Reddit subreddit called That's Effin' Weird, where we're always posting stuff too. So feel free to take a look at that. Post some stuff if you want to, but if not, don't worry about it. We are going to get into it. So the number one person on the FBI's, it's not the FBI, it's US Marshals.gov, 15 most wanted fugitives. Number one, we have Raymond Aboot. Aboot is wanted for escape. Disclaimer too, if you are squeamish or if you have kind of a nerve that might get struck by some of these, again, these are criminals, very violent people, very dark individuals. So if you don't want to hear some dark things, I would maybe turn off this episode, go to the next one, or listen to one of our previous episodes. But with that being said, Raymond Aboot is wanted for escape from a maximum security detention facility in Puerto Rico. He is extremely violent. But why? Why is he wanted? Well, he's wanted for escape, obviously. That's why he's on here. Alias Raymond Bagre, Raymond Ernest Aboot. He's wanted for $25,000. Again, so if anyone's out there and sees this individual and helps with the apprehension, you get $25,000. I can understand why people would want to become a bounty hunter. Shit, this thing, like, low key, being a bounty hunter, I'm sorry, I'm getting off onto a tangent already, but being a bounty hunter, low key, would be fucking badass. I just don't know if it would pay the bills. You know what I mean? Like $25,000, that's a lot of clams. You know what I mean? But you have to be very consistent with this. I don't know how fucking Dog the Bounty Hunter did that for that long. I mean, I think doing the TV show helped with like some of the side stuff. I mean, look at he had rolling around in Escalades and fucking had a huge house. I mean, Beth. I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah. So it would be pretty fun to be a bounty hunter. Just, I mean, it's because I guess it reminds me kind of like the Wild West. You know what I mean? But again, $25,000 for a reward. You'd have to be pretty consistent with this. Now think about that. You got lights, electricity. You got to pay rent or your mortgage. You got to eat. You got to do all these basic things like every single day. That costs a lot of money. So just finding this guy right here might set you up maybe for like, I don't know, 3-4 months. I mean, if you're very stingy with it, like I think if you're one of these people that are like, hey, I just need my house, my one room, can have everything in it, just need a little cat to keep me company, or a dog, I think you could probably stretch this out for maybe 6 to 8 months, possibly, if you're very minimalistic too, but you just get the thrill of, catching people. You could probably make this work. But nevertheless, so caution, he's supposed to be armed and dangerous. All right. So the case outline, Aboot is wanted by the District of Puerto Rico for escape from a maximum security detention facility while awaiting sentence of a federal firearms violation. Aboot is also being sought for penalized threats against federal agents. About is known to exhibit extreme violent behavior and has assaulted law enforcement officers. Notice law enforcement before arrest, verify warrant through the National Crime Information Center. So let's see here. There's a poster to download. Interesting. Okay. Oh, so it's exactly what I had read. Interesting. Let's see here. So yeah, I want to find out like why he exactly went to the maximum security prison. I'm going on to the foxnews.com. RoboCop Raymond Abbott wanted for prison outbreak weapons smuggling. Raymond Abbott is an athletic former U.S. Army infantry soldier, liked to introduce himself as RoboCop after the science fiction law enforcer who literally gets shot to pieces but remains unstoppable. Abbott put the name to the test when he tried to daringly escape from a maximum security prison in Puerto Rico. It was a performance every bit as daredevil as any Hollywood superstar. In February 92, the 31 Abbott was arrested for smuggling weapons from an investigation by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Abbott pleaded guilty and was sent to a maximum security penitentiary in Puerto Rico where he awaited sentencing. But investigators say Abbott had no intentions of staying in jail for long. They say he potentially planned an escape and worked long and hard to get physically fit, sometimes doing as many as 1,000 push-ups a day in his cell. He was in excellent physical condition. The senior investigator at the U.S. Marshals said when the time came for his escape, Abbott dashed past a guard who had entered his cell for a prison count and bolted out the door. By the time he had made it to the prisoner's interior patio, the guards were hot on his trail. In a scene straight out of an action movie, bullets whizzed by Abbott. He had swaddled himself in a blanket and mattress foam for protection, sprinted across the patio, and jumped down the barbed wire enclosure outside. The guards kept shooting at him, but Abbott escaped. His daredevil flight landed Abbott on the Marshal's most wanted list. Yep, he is now being hunted by officials for escaping the maximum security for smuggling drugs and threatening a federal officer while in prison. Those threats were directed at ATF agent Rodriguez, the man who arrested Abbott for smuggling weapons from Miami to gangs and drug cartels in Puerto Rico. The arrest didn't sit well with Abbott. He felt that as a leader of a powerful gang, he had been humiliated, so he vowed while he was in prison to get Rodriguez killed. He wanted to show that he had people on the streets to take care of him. But now that he was out of jail, Abbott decided to take matters into his own hands. A few days after the escape, Abbott's grandmother claimed he had called her and vowed that he would kill Rodriguez before he ever returned to jail. Rodriguez has now been transferred to the U.S. from Puerto Rico for his protection. Abbott wasn't always a hardened criminal. Born in Miami in 1961, he was considered a good student as a child. And while he was still young, his mother divorced his father and went to Puerto Rico. It is thought that at that time, Abbott came into contact with gangs and stepped into the world of crime. Okay, he's extremely knowledgeable in weapons, well-versed in the use of high-powered firearms, and interested in motorbikes. Abbott has other interests, too. He was always surrounded with nice-looking females. In fact, it was his passion for women that gave him the rise to rumors that he had died from AIDS, but the rumors have been dispelled. Abbott has been on the lam for 16 years and is considered to be extremely violent and dangerous. He can sometimes be friendly, but be cautious. He's always looking for trouble. Very interesting. It doesn't go too much into like where he was smuggling them or anything like that, but it is funny because the Raymond Abbott is also, let's see here. Someone from Bank of America also has the name Raymond Abbott. It almost looks like I could kind of see some similarities a little bit in the nose between the two, but obviously not the same person. So that is Raymond Abbott. So we'll get on to our next person. We have David Allen Bones, Boness, Bonez. Wanted for rape of a child on unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. He is armed and dangerous. Let's read a little bit more into this one. Again, $25,000 reward. Wanted in South Dakota. White guy, brown hair. I should have done that with the other one. I'll give the description of him, just in case you're out there and you do see him. He's been wanted since 2013. Male, eyes are green, weight is 180 pounds. South Dakota, he's white, brown hair, height is 5'9". Alias is David Allen News, N-U-S-E. So on December 22nd, 2008, a 17-year-old girl told her mother that Bonez had been sexually assaulting her since she was 12. Based on this information, authorities thought Bonez brought in for questioning and a DNA sample. Bonez stopped the interview and was allowed to leave. When police obtained a search warrant the next day, Bonez had already fled. All right, so let's read a little bit more about this guy. I don't know how much there actually is going to be about this guy. Last guy, there was the whole... I feel like there would be a lot more on the guy that we just talked about, just because he's, federal crime, he's smuggling weapons and everything like that. This seems... I don't know how much we're going to get with this one. This is from KOTA-TV. So, wanted South Dakota fugitive to be profiled on popular TV series. Oh, interesting. This is a real dangerous individual, a guy that preyed on young children, said America's Most Wanted co-host Calhoun Walsh. It's likely that he could be seeking out other companion and preying on the children, as he did in this case. With the man still out there, the case caught the attention of a hit TV series, America's Most Wanted. The case is set to air on show's season 3 finale. Interesting. So this was published in May, so that was a handful of months ago. They often sometimes reach out to us in hopes that we can provide some assistance in the case to move these cases forward. And the public and our viewers have done that time and time again, said Walsh. The U.S. Marshals currently has the $25,000 reward. Yep. He's a maniac. He could be working in the car or automotive industry. Oh, he is a maniac. He's a mechanic. And he has connections all over, which can be difficult. He may even have gone up to Canada. So, hey, Canada listeners, keep an eye out for Bonez. Still considered to be armed and dangerous. Anyone with information on this whereabouts can call the Pennington County Sheriff's Office, 605-394-6117. The Rapid City Police Department, 605-394-4131, at your nearest law enforcement agency. Like I said, I don't think there's going to be much about this guy other than it seems like it was just that one crime that he committed and he's still out there. Interesting stuff. All right. David Creamer. I want to say this name sounds so familiar. All right, David Creamer. His original charges are for money laundering, possession of firearms, and distribution of child pornography. All right, so wanted since 97. Sex male, eyes are blue, weight 210 pounds, wanted in Arizona, white. Hair is brown. It's older now, so it's probably a little bit more white. Height is about 5'10". A scar on his upper lip. Between 92 and 95, Kramer's organization produced more than 100,000 pornography graphic worldwide. Kramer's failed to appear in the U.S. District Court after violating his pre-trial release in 97. Let's see here. Other aliases is Dave Kramer, Benjamin David. Again, $25,000. Let's see what else we can find about this creep. This is from 2016, February 12th, 2016. Each Friday afternoon, we're looking for your help to track down fugitives in our state, men and women wanted by the FBI, ICE, U.S. Marshals Office, as well as state and local. U.S. Marshals officials say David Benjamin Kramer is accused of producing and distributing millions of dollars worth of pornography. The 69-year-old has been on the run for the past 11 years. Federal prosecutors say Kramer made millions of dollars producing more than 100,000 computer disks of, yep, you know it, distributing them worldwide. When he was first arrested in 97 in the Tuscan area, authorities seized 70 firearms and 80,000 rounds of ammunition. He was released pending his trial and hasn't been seen since. Kramer's original charges for money laundering, felony in possession of firearms, and distribution of child pornography. Considered armed and dangerous, federal prosecutors believe that he may be armed with a shoulder holster containing a .38 caliber handgun. He has made statements that he will not be taken alive. There is a reward up to $25,000. David Benjamin Kramer is 5 feet 10 inches tall and believed to weigh around 220 pounds. He has a noticeable scar on the back of his neck from the removal of a large boil. The scar should be shaped like a plus sign. The scar area bothers him, and he tends to lean forward while driving so that the scar does not rub against the headrest. He also has a brown grapefruit skin discoloration on his left side rib cage area. Kramer rarely wears long sleeve shirts and prefers Mexican wedding shirts. He also has been found wearing one-piece mechanic style jumpsuits. Kramer is a heavy smoker, prefers English oval type cigarettes, especially Sherman Whites. He also has diabetes and as a result has poor circulation. The poor circulation causes him difficulty when walking at times. Because of this, his diabetes, he must take medication to survive. So it's things like this where it's like, all right, this dude is a heavier set smoker, like bad health condition, yada yada, probably needs, some sort of medication, something, you know what I mean? Where it's like to just even function. So he would need a prescription. He would need to go to a clinic. How the fuck does he, okay, got it. Criminals can do, have their ways of getting stuff. So this dude probably has a way of getting medication or, doing something like that where he doesn't need to give out his identity. But again, he may have like a fake ID or something like that where he could get some stuff. I just don't know how people like this, where it's like, dude is fucking overweight, doesn't take care of himself, has health issues, and it even said that he needs that stuff to survive, or the medication at least, because of his diabetes. I just don't understand how he doesn't get caught, because he's going to need that medication to keep his stay alive. I don't know. Maybe the dude is fucking dead. Hopefully, right? Piece of shit like this. When people have these health issues and they can get it somehow. Again, criminals, they have their ways of doing stuff. But again, if you have any information, again, reach out to your local law enforcement. All right, Larry Potter Chisholm? I'm not making that up. Chism. Chisholm? All right. Is wanted for murder, firearms, explosives, arson, narcotics, trafficking, kidnapping, and airplane hijacking. Holy shit. This guy was busy. All right. Wanted since 88. Brown eyes, weight is about 160. Skin tone is medium. Wanted in Tennessee. Birthplace is Arkansas. He's white, black hair, 5'10", scar on the right and left arms. Interesting. Now again, 88. There's probably quite a bit of information about this. He has a lot. He's wanted for a lot of shit. He goes by two different aliases, Kenneth Brookins and Jack Kaufman. Again, $25,000. If you have anything about this guy, I'm sure it's for like if he gets prosecuted, then you get the money. But Chisholm is wanted for charges stemming from escape from the county jail in Arkansas in 78. At the time of his escape, Chisholm was serving a 40-year state sentence for armed robbery and narcotics violations, followed by an additional 30-year federal sentence for kidnapping and hijacking an airplane. During his previous escape, Chisholm shot and severely wounded a correctional officer. Jeez. Caution, he is supposed to be armed and dangerous. Escape, racketeering, including murder, firearms, explosives, arson, narcotics, trafficking, kidnapping. Now, again, I feel like it's when people have gone so long, I wonder where it's crazy if they infiltrate a small community, or they, I feel like that's what you have to do is you just escape to these backwoods areas, or I wonder if it's even the country. I'm sure it is to some degree, but I do know that I think between Canada and Mexico, I'm gonna have to do my research on that one, but there's an exception to the policy where like even if you escape to those countries will work with the United States to bring those people back so they can get prosecuted, right? Like just because you go to a different country doesn't mean that you're like, I'm in Mexico, I'm safe now. Like, no, that again, I don't know if it's with Mexico. I'm pretty sure it's with Canada. But even in Europe, like going to Europe, that won't save you and everything. So it's crime doesn't pay. It really fucking doesn't. Let's see what we can have. The mysterydelivery.com. What is that? Analyze murder, missing people, and more. Okay, Chisholm's trail. Larry Chisholm, future looked promising. The 29-year-old Vietnam veteran had earned a college degree in accounting and then was nearly completing a law degree. He had a great legal mind, but he also had an illegal intentions. When his nose was not in the books, he was snorting crack and heroin and sending teenage drug runners to Mexico to sneak the contraband across the border. 2 weeks before he was supposed to graduate Memphis State Law School in 1974, Chisholm was arrested for the May 1973 robbery of 3 MSU students at gunpoint in their dorm room. He was convicted and sentenced to 40 years in prison, but the amount of time he has spent behind bars equals approximately only 4 years. Chisholm has engineered 2 jail escapes, and the first time he was quickly captured. Following his second escape, authorities twice tracked the elusive egghead, but were unable to nab him. For 47 years, would-be lawyer Larry Chisholm has been Larry on the lame. He holds the dubious distinction of the longest turd member of the United States Marshal's 15 most wanted list. Holy shit. So he's been up there. Ha, wow. Following his conviction on the armed robbery and drug charges in February 1975, Larry Chisholm was imprisoned at the medium security Ternary Center in Olin, Tennessee, 70 miles southwest of Nashville. He made the most of his situation in editing the prison's newspaper, The Phoenix, teaching business classes to fellow inmates and meditating despite between them and prison officials. Interesting. All the while, however, Chisholm sought a way out of the slammer. Interesting. As a reward for the good behavior, 34 inmates, including Chisholm, were treated to an evening of bowling at the Bowl Arena in Dickerson, 25 miles northwest of Olney. On September 13th, 1978, after bowling a spare, Chisholm excused himself to the restroom where he struck with a vengeance. The guard observed Chisholm carrying something as he entered the lavatory. When the prisoner did not return after some time, the guard grew suspicious and investigated. Upon entry, he encountered 3 inmates, 2 of whom were trying to pry open a window, while the third, Chisholm, aimed a shotgun at the guard. Instinctually, the guard smashed the door against the inmate, and a gunfight ensued, Chisholm being grazed on his right thumb and shoulder while shooting the officer in the chest and arm. His bulletproof vest likely saved his life. 3 responding correctional officers were commandeered at gunpoint with 2 sawed-off shotguns and forced to surrender their .38 pistols. Outside the bathroom, the prisoners fired 2 more warning shots at the ceiling. The buckshot ricocheted slightly, wounding James Wine, a prisoner not involved in the escape. It was clear that Chisholm was the ringleader, and as he barked the orders to the other inmates, convicted rapist Floyd Brewer and George Bonds, ages 28 and 24, and 31-year-old Raymond Lyons, serving a 50-year sentence for armed robbery. Interesting. Holy shit. All right, so the escaped inmates include George Bonds, Larry Chisholm, Ronald Lyons, and Floyd Brewer. After taking 18-year-old bowling alley employee Carol Bennett hostage, the men fled the facility. After wrecking their getaway car, they stole another employee's car and drove to the small Dickerson Municipal Airport, where they swapped hostages, releasing Caroline unarmed and turning their guns on pilots and airport owner Mel Rumine and his son Robert. The men ordered, Roman, washing his airplane at the time, to fly them from the area. During the flight, Chisholm displayed his intelligence, ordering the plane to be flown at a low altitude to avoid radar detection. After 2.5 hours amidst heavy cloud cover and thunderstorms, the overloaded single-engine 4-seat Cessna 82 gave out shortly after crossing the Arkansas border. Roman was forced to make an emergency landing on a dirt road adjacent to a rice field near Marianne in the east central part of the state. The escapes fled the downplane, splitting into pairs, leaving Roman and his son unhurt. That is crazy. The local was approximately 300 miles southwest of the escape point, and ironically or not, only about 20 miles from Chisholm's native Forest City, where his parents, Mildred and Francis, brother Harry and Pat, and former wife Elizabeth all lived. All the men had visited the incarcerated Chisholms during the prior week, but authorities found no evidence of any of them aiding in the escape or knowing his intentions. Holy cow. All right, I'm going to stop right there. This goes on for, like, I could keep talking about this. So if you want to know more about Chisholm's whole thing, this is crazy. I'll leave you guys with that because we need to keep talking about some other creeps and everything like that. But mysterydeliverer.com, Chisholm's Trail, super interesting. I'm sure there's a lot more that go into this. It looks like some people were injured, maybe some people were caught, but he himself is still on the run. So go ahead and take a look at his whole thing. I knew there was going to be a lot about this dude because of just like how long it's been, the amount of things that he was charged with. His picture of what he looks now looks like just picture old white guy, like picture old white guy from, like, not the suburbs, like the rural area, like farmer type, just meh. Yeah, not like meh, but that's a good description. But he, what you think he would look like aged now, is probably, I think they did a good job with it. But again, for being on the run for so long, he had to have changed his name, and he had to, like, either he's dead, right? Or, he has a really good alias, went to a small town where nobody knows anything, and just making ends meet, barely living. Because it doesn't seem like he was out to make money. I mean, I think I don't know why. Like, okay, I take that back, because he held his, like, some dorm mates or whatever at gunpoint or whatever. But I don't know. Like, it wasn't like he was doing all of these. I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't seem like the guy was living lavishly. I think the dude just gets off with doing crimes. I think that's what it is, honestly. Because it wasn't like he had, like, all these cars, watches, suits, whatever. He's not living lavishly. He was living in a dorm, where I feel like with all this money he had, he probably could have lived off campus and, all that shit. But nevertheless, Larry Potter Chisholm, if you have any information, you know what to do. Moving on. I'm going to skim through this. So that was the first top 4. All right. Robert Lee King. King is wanted for the brutal murder of his girlfriend and the attempted murder of his girlfriend's 20-year-old daughter. Okay. Well, let's find out about him. Wanted since 2006. Sex is male. Eyes are brown. Weight is 185 pounds. Wanted in Tennessee. Race is black or African American. Hair is black. Height is 6'2". He has tattoos on the left and right arms. Caution, armed and dangerous. King is wanted for by the Shelby County Sheriff's Department for the brutal murder of his girlfriend and the attempted murder of his girlfriend's 20-year-old daughter. The daughter was able to identify King in a photo lineup as the men who attacked her and murdered her mother. Marshals determined to track down long missing Mid-South homicide suspect. U.S. Marshals are still searching for 15 most wanted fugitives for the murder suspect Robert Lee King, who has eluded Memphis, Tennessee authorities for 13 years. Marshals hope releasing a new aged progression photo of King will generate a new information as his whereabouts and finally lead to his arrest. So this was back in May 2nd, 2018. Let's see if he goes by any other. He doesn't go by any other aliases, as of what we know right now. I think the aged photo does look pretty good. Again, this is from the marginalreporter.com. King had a lot of time on the lam. U.S. Marshals Jeff Holt of the Western District of Tennessee, fugitives on the run as long as King tend to use that time to change their appearance, use aliases, and even start new lives. They literally could be hiding in plain sight. That's exactly kind of what I had said. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like you just have to like throw in the towel as a criminal, where it's like, okay, you have to have a clean nose now. And that's got to be hard. But again, I don't know if this individual had any prior. It does look like he had been apprehended one other time, and that's where they're getting the aged progression photo. Let's see here. This is a photo taken of Lee at Memphis murder suspect. Yep. On December 1st, 2005, King allegedly murdered his girlfriend, Dorothy Smith, and attempted to murder her 20-year-old daughter, Diana. Diana Smith said she was awakened by an argument between her mother and King at 4 a.m., went to the mother's bedroom and witnessed King standing over and striking her mother. Diane ran from the room to call for help, but King chased her. She said she tried to lock herself in her bedroom, but King broke through the door, attacked her with a sharp object, and cut her neck. King then fled from the home. After King left the house, Diane went to check on her mother and found her laying on the bedroom floor, bleeding profusely from a cut on her neck. When rescue personnel arrived, Dorothy was pronounced dead at the scene, and Diane was transported to the hospital in critical condition. Diane survived and was able to identify King in a photo lineup as the man who attacked her and her mother. We're asking for the public to take a good look at this updated photo of King, said Holt. He could be your neighbor or your coworker. Help us finally bring him to justice. King is 6'2", black male with black hair, brown eyes, and a medium skin tone. At the time of his disappearance, he weighed approximately 185 pounds. His tattoos include an upside-down crown with the name Victoria underneath it on his left arm, and a horseshoe on his right arm with the name Robert underneath it. He has no known scars. The fugitive has ties to the Memphis area, Greenville, Wisconsin, Chicago, and Minneapolis. Due to his length of time on the run, authorities say he could be anywhere, which is true. A reward of $25,000 is being offered for information leading to directly to King's arrest. Anyone with information, yep, okay. When people have been on the run for so long, it's one of those, like, they have to, like, completely go out. Like, they said, like, it was kind of like, I feel like the Midwest is where his whereabouts or where he has ties to, where I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, he either has to go like far to California, New York, Texas, Florida, somewhere where he can just like hunker down. And again, with that much time going by, he could put on, 20 pounds, 30 pounds of weight, or even slim down even more, totally change, grow out his hair, grow a beard. I feel like it's really hard to identify these people after such a long time, and like, okay, he has tattoos. He could have gotten tattoos over those tattoos. So it really sucks that they're not able to apprehend this guy sooner. But again, it's one of those things too, where if like some of these people are dead and then the loved ones never get any justice, that has to suck. You know what I mean? Where it's, there is no, I feel like there's no resolve with this. But then again, I've heard where, people do, finally get justice, but it doesn't bring back their loved ones. It doesn't, like, there's still, again, everyone has different ways of grieving, and like I'm not gonna say that's for all circumstances, but you see people in court where like sometimes they forgive the people that hurt them. You see times where they don't forgive them, they get no resolve even when the person like gets sent to jail for hundreds of years. It's because it's that loved one that is missing. That's why they're angry, is that person's not there anymore. But again, if you have any information about Robert Lee King, you know what to do. Let your local authorities know. And I really hope that this is, this does reach, someone, maybe, anything, right? That maybe we'll find somebody, hopefully. Ooh, all right. John Joseph Rufio. Rufio is wanted for bank fraud and failure to surrender for sentencing. Rufio has numerous international ties, including the Caribbean, South America, and Europe. Now, I'm not going to lie. This dude's probably fucking dead. Wanted for bank fraud, failure to surrender for sentencing. Aliases: Joseph Rufio, John Rufiso, Jack Nitz, Bruce Georgie, John Peters, Charles Sanders. Wanted since 98. Sex male, eyes brown, weight is 170 pounds. Skin tone medium. Wanted in Virginia. His birthplace is New York. White, ethnicity, brown, balding, 5'6", requires corrective lenses, are supposed to be armed and dangerous. Rufio is wanted for the Eastern District of Virginia for failure to serve a 17-year federal sentence after being released on a $10 million bond. Rufio and a co-defendant set up a fraudulent business scheme through which they defrauded the United States and foreign banks of $350 million. Rufio has numerous international ties, including throughout the Caribbean, South America, and Europe. This reminds me of what the fuck is going on in Minnesota right now, with that whole fraud with a bunch of daycares were getting millions of dollars, and there was no kids even in these facilities. I don't know how it all came to light. I don't know if it was when Kamala Harris and I think his name is Tim Walz, something like that. Mr. Waltz, we'll call him. Anyways, was going for vice president. I don't know if like him coming out into the spotlight, then people started looking into that, and just I don't know. You know, when people come into light, people will dig into your past for whatever reason. And I don't know if he has anything to do with this or not, or if they were just looking into, like, people were starting looking into Minnesota, because I feel like Minnesota was just kind of doing its own thing, and really wasn't on the radar for anybody until he wanted to be the vice president. And then once that happened, people, I think, I really don't know how all of this started, but it was millions and millions of dollars that taxpayers in Minnesota were giving, in taxes to these daycares that had no kids in it. Apparently there was supposed to be like 120 or like over 100 kids were supposed to be in this like daycare facility, right? And no kids. And like the names of the learning center, or like the centers, all spelt wrong. The addresses were all wrong. Like it was like a big old scheme, right? It's going on right now as I'm recording this. So by the time this actually airs, there's probably going to be more about all of this. So I'll try to keep you updated and everything like that. But yeah, crazy stuff going on. Just this right here reminds me of that. So let's see what we can find a little bit more about John Rufio. Because again, for so long, there's got to be a little bit more information. I feel like when there's so much time that has passed, like if you look at this wanted since 98, when I feel like when it's like in the 2000s and moving forward, there's not as much, but anywhere from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, I feel like either people do a documentary or look into it more and have that a little bit more information. So from abcaudio.com, there's actually a podcast about this season 2, episode 1. Hold on, Marshall King. It's called. It's a 37-minute podcast. So I'm telling you a podcast is telling you to listen to a podcast. But they actually, I think, have a whole episode dedicated to this man. Let's see here. Has John Rufio been found? Where is he now? As someone who has not only been convicted as a white-collar criminal, but is also considered a master manipulator, John Rufio is one of the most dangerous con men that has ever been. After all, as explored in Have You Seen This Man, he engineered one of the most significant bank frauds in U.S. history before simply vanishing without a trace left behind, leading to an incredible, intense manhunt. So now, if you wish to learn more about this particular past, skillful deception, bewildering offender, sudden flight, and possible current whereabouts, here's what we know now. I'm going to do wave tops with this guy, because again, if you want to know anything about it, again, go to this website and just search them up. The scheme in question involved soliciting various banks in an attempt to secure millions in the name of capital for Project Star, a fictitious top secret research effort to develop smoke-free cigarettes. Interesting. Not only did the duo rely upon Edwards' prior connections with Philip Morris to make their claims believable, but they also alleged that John's computer company would be providing hardware for the same. Therefore, in less than 3 years, they managed to swindle up over $350 million, equivalent to around $633 million as of 2022, from various banks across the world. As peer reports, John always made timely interest payments on the loans to avoid any suspicion, but their ruse still fell apart in 96 owing in fraudulent documents that they used. Okay, they were arrested following a sting operation by the FBI, and that's when it came into light that apart from investing on Wall Street to become a high roller, John was also spent the money on fine wines, gambling, and hotels. He enjoyed traveling and was computer savvy. John also was a storyteller, someone who liked to stretch the truth and had a desire to impress others. John faced a 150 count indictment from the bank fraud, money laundering, wire fraud, and conspiracy, leading to his bail set to $10 million to match the seriousness of his crime. He was eventually convicted and sentenced to 17 and a half years in federal prison, but was allowed to remain free on bail until the start of his scheduled stint behind bars. Like, I see, that's crazy to me that you steal $350 million. You have to spend 17 and a half years behind bars. You know, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like that's not that long. But again, I mean, that's 17 years. That's 17 years. That's a long, I mean, again, that is a long time. That is a very long time. But I feel like just some of the other, you know, charges, like some people spend like 90 years or like, you know, they have multiple counts, like first count 30 years, second count 40 years. Like it's just, they just keep adding layers and layers. But okay, it's been over 23 years and there has been no confirmed sightings of John Rufio since the day CCTV footage caught with him withdrawing money at Queen's ATM in November of 98. Back in 2016, the U.S. Marshals did get a tip suggesting that he was in the Los Angeles area through an early August Dodgers game. Yet it was clarified in 2001 that the man enjoying the baseball game from the fourth row behind the home plate was not John, just someone who looks strikingly similar. I feel like that too is like a big thing where it's like, you know, people look alike. And I think I've heard times where people get wrongly accused of crimes or like, you know, get put in jail because they look like a certain someone. That would fucking suck. It really would, to have to spend time in jail for something that you know that you didn't do. You just look like the person. Let's see here. It is believed that John Rufio's disappearance has considerably aided by the plus 13 million that he has never been. Oh my gosh. So $13 million has not been recovered, though the FBI froze every single one of his known assets and bank accounts following his arrest. Yeah, but he could have withdrawn, you know, like I think even if $1 million, imagine that. Could you live off $1 million for the rest of your life? I know with inflation and everything, but imagine if you invested half of that. I think you could live, but again, like, all right, he's wanted. So like investing money, I'm pretty sure you need a social security card. So unless he's giving the money to somebody else to invest that money for him, that's a lot of money. And or the only other way that I could see maybe like that working is if he got married or he had a friend or something, and they were investing it, like I said, for him, and then he was reaping the benefits, giving a little chunk to whoever. So pretty crazy stuff. All right, we're going to go on to the next person. We have Tamara Williams. Tamara is wanted by the Michigan Police Department for first-degree murder, dismemberment of a body, and tampering with evidence, and felony firearms. Holy shit. All right. Tammy Renee and Tamara Hood are her aliases, first-degree murder. Sex female, eyes are brown, 190 pounds. Wayne County, Michigan is where she wanted. Ethnicity, black or African. Hair, brown. Height, 5'5". Scar tattoo, a rose on her upper left arm. Caution, armed and dangerous. Well, fucking dismemberment. United States Marshal is requiring assistance in locating 44-year-old Tamara Williams. Williams is wanted by the Melvindale, Michigan Police Department for first-degree murder, dismemberment of a body, tampering with evidence, and felony firearm. Williams allegedly shot her boyfriend and dismembered his body and discarded his body parts along I-75 near Hancock, Ohio. Williams is a trained paleobotanist, and maybe working in medical clinics. Okay, let's see what we can dig up about her. It's never good to dismember anybody. All right, this is from dailycrime.com. Suspect murder of David Carter by Tamara Williams investigated on Crime Junkie. This is of March 2004. Crime Junkie is examining the brutal murder of David Carter, who the police suspect was murdered by and butchered by his girlfriend Tammy Williams, who had been on the run now for over 5 years. The 39-year-old Carter, a father of a 16-year-old girl, vanished from Michigan at the beginning of October 2018. According to his family, his girlfriend Williams hadn't left his side in the last 6 months they were dating, but now she claimed to have no knowledge of his whereabouts. In mid-October, Carter's dismembered remains were found in garbage bags scattered along I-75 in Ohio. The U.S. Marshals later described that what had happened to Carter was horrible, it's brutal, and said the killer is not a normal person. The cops began to suspect Williams was involved, but she fled Michigan as soon as she got wind that they were on to her. The investigators believe that the suspect took a train from Ann Arbor and ended up in Brooklyn, New York, but they lost track of her after that. Williams had not been in trouble with the law before his murder. Let's see here. Williams has now been on the run for over 5 years. She has worked in the medical field as a travel agent and is thought to be a fairly savvy world traveler. She is also a member of the Order of the Eastern Star, an organization that links to the Freemasons that has members all over the country. The police fear members of this group may be inadvertently helping Williams without realizing she's a fugitive. U.S. Marshal, in a statement, Tammy Williams stands accused of a heinous, brutal crime. Her apprehension is our highest priority, and the family of David Carter deserves justice. I strongly encourage anyone who has information regarding her whereabouts to do the right thing and contact us. So interesting. It really doesn't say a whole lot more about her there. Just kind of, this is from fox2detroit.com. Ex-Detroit firefighter charged in $2,000 embezzlement is the mom of fugitive wanted for dismembering man. It's been 3 years since police have been in contact with Tammy Williams, the woman who is wanted for murdering and dismembering her boyfriend. But now the reward has been increased, and police think family members have helped her run. This is from 2001. September 29th, 2001. Williams, now 41, has been on the run since 2018 and is accused of dismembering David Carter. His lower half was found in a sleeping bag on my gosh, off of I-75 in Ohio while his upper body parts were littered along the highway. Supervisor's Deputy U.S. Marshal Aaron Garcia said it's been almost 3 years since Carter was murdered, and they're still searching, but they won't stop. We're going to find you. We've been investigating this case for 3 years, and we've had very little cooperation at this point. Williams' mother was identified Wednesday night as Verdun Day, the former treasurer of Detroit Firefighter Association, who was indicted earlier this week in a federal court for embezzling over $200,000 to fund lavish vacations and cruises. With Day being charged, Williams is now a top suspect for the U.S. Marshals, and they're doubling the reward from $5,000 for information. She is one of our top priorities in the county. Reward is to $10,000 for information. So it looks like the mom, Verdun Day, is the mom of Tamara Williams. So Day was embezzling money, not good. And then Tamara Williams cutting people up, also not good. I don't think we're going to have much more information about this woman. There's only a few links. Where's Tamara Williams now? Is she leveraged? Okay, so this is from the cinemaholic.com. Tamara Williams is someone who officials claim killed her boyfriend and fled the state as soon as she got wind that they were looking for her. Possible motive is yet to be affirmed, especially with her lack of criminal history and background of no evidence. Here's my thing, though, right? Is if you're not guilty, you don't run, right? As soon as you run, you look guilty. And again, I don't know the whole, like, it would be interesting to see, like, okay, if the two were dating and they were living together, did she just up and leave? Did she tell her work that she was quitting? You know, like, or like, because maybe she had plans to move and just everything kind of fell in place. But you think, like, from the earlier things, it was like the family said that the girl was attached to the boyfriend's hip. Like, they were always together, and then just boom, gone. You think that if she really loved him, that she would be like, yeah, let's find this person. It looks very suspicious, right? So, let's see here. A possible motive is yet to be affirmed, especially with her lack of criminal history and background of no violence, but is also known that the couple got into an argument the day before David went missing. As per family, Tamara was always beside her partner, that is, until he vanished, and she insisted on having no idea about it. Williams is considered alive, well, and on the run. In her early 40s today, she has been characterized as unsafe, armed, and dangerous, with specialists suspecting that she might kill again. Standing 5'5" and weighing roughly 190 pounds, she has a large tattoo of a bunch of roses on her upper left arm. Tamara also has identifiable brown eyes with natural hair of the same color, though she might have changed the latter in terms of style and color to remain hidden. As of now, Tamara is indicted on first-degree murder. Yeah, not too much more information about Tamara Williams. It just kind of goes across the board, like, okay, all of these murders can come in like different shapes and sizes, man, woman, black, white, you know, we're all people, right? We're all like, there's dangerous people out there, people, right? And just crazy people doing crazy stuff. So that is probably all the time that we have for today. If you want to look at more of all of these, I highly encourage you to look at the 15 most wanted fugitives, because, you know, anytime we can bring people to justice is a good, you know, is good in my book, and getting dangerous people off the streets. So again, go to the usmarshals.gov if you want to see some more individuals, like the top 15. It's crazy. Like, some people have been on the run for like over 30 years. Yeah. For, I think, what was it? Larry Potter Chisholm has been on the run since 88. The longest. So that's the longest one that we have so far is 88. It's coming up on almost 30 years. It'd really be, okay, so this is the U.S. Marshal. It'd be really interesting to see the FBI's most wanted list, you know, kind of cross, because I'm sure every place has their like top 10 list. This is just the U.S. Marshal. So again, if you have any information, you know what to do. Go to your local, you know, police agency, or you can call the 1-800 number on their website, the usmarshals.gov's website, if you have any information. But, stay safe out there. Again, I hope this was a little bit interesting episode for, doing something a little bit different. Again, we want to kind of stay away from all those heavy hitters, bring to light some other people that you maybe not know of, because the more information that you have, the better. So that is all the time that we have for today. Check out what we have going on through Podbean, or if you want to join the conversation, see what's going on, you can join our Discord. Really easy. Just go to podbean.com. You can listen to us through there. And then when you're listening to us, our homepage has the Discord link up in the top area. Just click on that. It'll bring you to our Discord. You just type why you want to be in the server, and I'll let you in, and you can join our conversations. Again, we have those live episodes at the end of the month, so tune in for that. But remember what we always say here: we don't want stuff that's normal. We want stuff that's effing weird.